everybody, it's Alzheimer here with another video, and today we are going to be going over the public test server patch notes for the Elder Scrolls Online Seasons of the Worm Cult Part 1 update. Again, this is for the test server, so if you don't know what that is, ZeniMax, the devs, they release things to the test server for players to test and try out and get feedback so they can change or usually not. And we're just going to be going over the patch notes here today. Now, I'm not going to be reading all of them. Like, for the most part, we know new trial, new zone, blah, 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 item sets. I'll probably go over the item sets. I'm going to go over the item sets. I'm going to go over from Heroes Return and subclassing, and then the combat changes here. So let's just get into this right now. I hope you guys are doing really well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way, if you enjoy my content, you want to see more. And don't forget to check out my playlist as well. I have an Elder Scrolls Online playlist. I also have an Enshrouded playlist for those of you who enjoy that content, so go check those out. I'm already doing this. Alright, so let's see what we got for the Overland item sets. 3 Queens, Wellspring, Magicka. Adds 1 Magic recovery for every 100 max Magicka you have. It's kind of an interesting one. Death Dancer, Stamina, Crit, Recovery. Adds crit chance while you have 50% or more stamina. Reduce the cost of your core combat abilities while you have less than 50% of your stamina. Okay. Full belly barricade. I almost read that wrong. Hell Stam. While you have a food buff active, your block mitigation is increased and block cost is reduced. Now, this is an interesting set, because isn't there already a set that has block mitigation as well? I think it's a PvP set, right? Can you, like, team those up and have, like, insane block mitigation? Like, I don't really understand that one. Only 1 crafted set. Now, this is something that I think that they should, that they should really do. I mean, do they really need, especially with hybridization, do they really need a Magicka set, a Stamina set? Why can't they just do, like, 1 Overland set, 1 crafted set? Like, Alright, Tideborn, Wild Stalker. Damage, crit, penetration. Increase your direct damage done to monsters. I like that it's just monsters. We need more things like that, I think. Trial sets here. Don't really do trials. I'll pause so you guys can read them. Okay, now I'll scroll down. Alright. Let's see what we got from Mythics here. Mythics, Medium Shoulder, Rockets, Void Mantle. Reduce the damage of your light attacks by 50%. Dealing damage with a light attack restores Magicka or Stamina, depending on your equipped weapon type. Gain additional resources when damaging an off-balance enemy, and less resources when damaging a blocking enemy. Increase the damage of your heavy attacks by 50%. Heavy attacks no longer restores resources. Okay, that's an interesting one. Okay, Light Shoes, Mad Gauze Dancing Shoes. While in combat, roll dodging creates a random effect. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds. Effects. Create a cheese wheel under an enemy within 15 meters that deals Magicka damage to enemies in 3 meters after 1 second. After dealing physical damage to enemies facing you, deal physical damage to enemies facing you after 1.5 seconds. Deal Magicka damage to the nearest enemy. Gain major expedition for 4.5 seconds. Restore stamina. Reduce the cost of your next non-ultimate ability. Gain ultimate. Okay, who doesn't want this one to happen every single freaking time? That's awesome. This is the kind of shit I think ZOS needs to do more of. That, and that sweet roll Set, that thing is funny, dude. I love that shit. Monomyth reforged while in combat, and your primary weapon on your primary weapon, sorry, gain major force, minor berserk, and minor vulnerability while in combat, and on your secondary weapon, gain major protection, minor vitality, and minor timidity. All right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, getting buffs nowadays, I just feel like is meh because you can get them in so many other ways now. You know, like whatever. Okay, furnishing vault. It's pretty cool. They will stack. They all stack within one of the 500 available slots. If you have 1,000 of the same chair, so it stacks up to 1,000. You have 500 slots. Pretty easy. Okay, Heroes Return. This is the one I was kind of interested in learning more of. ESO is a very large game where you can do a lot of things. However, with all things to choose from, it can be difficult to know where to start when you come back to Tamriel after being away for a while. Introducing Heroes Return. Heroes Return is a new experience for players who have not visited Tamriel in some time. However, for the PTS, we've temporarily opened this up to everyone, regardless of how long it's been since you've played. This feature has 3 key parts. The Hero's Return Adventure. When you return to Tamriel, you will be invited to join Vanis Galarian in quelling a new threat. While fighting through this short instance and dealing with the dangers within, you will also be reminded of some key components of ESO combat. Completing this adventure grants you a selection of consumables and other items to help you get back on your feet quickly. So that's cool. So basically you go through like another like mini tutorial. So that's pretty sick, I think. The welcome back screen and rewards. When you return to Tamriel, you'll be greeted by a new screen that temporarily replaces the announcement screen and a special set of login rewards. Among other rewards, these include a new Heroes Return experience scroll that also removes Wayshrine Cross for a short time, and a Wayshrine navigation chart that can be used to reveal any unexplored Wayshrines in the zone where you choose. Oh, that's cool. All right, all right. And a Heroes Return Golden Pursuit. Tamriel is full of ways to play, and to remind you of those options, we have introduced the Heroes Return Golden Pursuit. While adventuring through this Golden Pursuit, you will have the chance to be refreshed on important locations, services, and activities within Tamriel, all while earning a variety of help. See, that's what I'm talking about. I think that would really help people out. That's a good. I think that's really good. So the Heroes Return's pretty sick, honestly. All right, subclassing. Let's go over this. Um, Although I think most of us have a pretty big grasp on it. Um, but I'll go over this really quick because combat I think has a lot to it, and I don't want to spend too much. I don't want to spend too much time away from that. Welcome to subclassing. So this exciting new feature grants you the power to use abilities from other class skill lines. There is a small quest to unlock this new feature. Check the crown store, basically. When selecting skill lines through subclassing, you can get up to 2 other skill lines from other classes. You cannot get 2 skill lines from one other class. Example, you cannot be a Dragon Knight and have 2 Templar skill lines. You could have one of the following. Dragon Knight with 1 Templar and another class line. Be a Dragon Knight with 2 DK skill lines and 1 Templar. That makes sense. I mean, honestly. Subclassed skill lines share progression across your entire account. Subclassing will work with armory builds, thank God. Introduction of a new champion star, disciplined artisan on the green champion star, which increases the amount of experience gained for active skill lines and abilities. Additional callouts are subclassing. Abilities, skill lines are leveled, so yeah, okay, that's pretty obvious. I will be going over the new homes as well, so that's gonna be, so watch out for those videos. I will also be exploring the zone. Apparently the zone's really small. From what I've seen of the map, the zone is actually about the size of like Q's Bane. So I'm a little worried about that one. You know, let's get into combat and I'll get into that while I'm exploring. Greetings. This year marks ESO's 11th anniversary. Blah 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 blah. Sorry, I'm just trying to skim. As exciting as this is, it's also a little scary as it introduces a brand new world by allowing our players to do things that weren't necessarily always intended or thought of when they were first made. This update is focused on realizing the full vision of your character and allowing for more player skill customization to truly play your way. Much like the traditional Elder Scrolls experience, that's true. You'll be able to make your own custom class effectively by mixing and matching skill lines. As such, we're shifting much of our focus on the balance end to look at skill lines as a modular toolkit that offers a handful of strengths and gameplay advantages while trying to better compare them to other skill lines that focus on specific gameplay elements or roles. Many abilities were originally designed to be outliers to enable a class to stand toe to toe with others in certain aspects. These abilities are getting adjusted now that things aren't always as simple as, say, comparing Dragon Knight versus Necromancer. This patch focuses on trying to bring into line many of those abilities. So, whatever. Alright, let's go. Updated rules and behaviors for reaching the combat pet limit. There was a combat pet limit? The fuck? Previously, reaching 10 summons or corpses of summons would outright prevent the summoning of further pets, regardless of their source or type. This was most likely experienced in cases on a Necromancer where you had a high amount of corpses generating abilities, such as Banner Bearer, Grave Grasp, and Sacrificial Bones, where once you had enough summons and corpses active, your abilities would simply stop functioning. We saw this arise in reports mostly where Blighted Blast Ones would fail to activate. With subclassing in mind, we've had to go back to this experience and flesh it out, since it is far more likely to reach that cap, as well as introduce a new hard cap in PvP environments, where these experiences could create highly problematic gameplay experiences on lower spec hardware. I think this makes sense, honestly. You know, especially after that test we just did in Serial Champions, where a lot of the abilities were kind of dumbed down and shit. I think this will be fine. I mean, if it makes the game run smoother, it doesn't look like anything's really gonna change. It just changes for PvP, which I feel like it should. There should be a separation with PvP and PvE. You know, it should be a lot more obvious than what they're doing now. So if this is like the start of it, then I'm game for it, you know? Okay, when attempting to create a new summon, the old summon the PvP zone, as it says, will be 5 instead of 10, by the way. The oldest summon active will now despawn itself to make room. Does that make sense to everybody? I mean, I think that kind of makes sense. Companions count towards the limit. So basically, you can't create your own army. Damn it! I kind of wanted to create my own army. I gotta be honest, but that's all right though. So they also nerf some things here. Sacrificial bones and its morphs corpse is now persist for 5 seconds, down from 6. It's only a second. The signature script class mastery, when paired with Necromancer, will now create a corpse that lasts for 5 seconds, down from 10. That's, I mean, I think that's a kind of a big jump. Ghostly Embrace and morphs created corpses on the third area now persist for 5 seconds, down from 10. I think that's also a nerf too. Probably not a good one from Necromancers, to be honest. Let's see. Sneaking ability, like whatever. I mean, like I feel like it's just I'm not a Nightblade. Hello. Where skill lines, core combat abilities, crouch when successfully transitioning from detected to hidden after crouching. The effect state sneak is now visible on your effect bar. Additionally, sneak can be hovered over in the character sheet to read what the effect does. That's kind of cool. All right, so Dragon Knight, here we go. Dragon Knight Combustion. This passive now increases the damage from burning and poison by 16 and 33%. I'm just going to say the higher number. Don't really need it. From burning and poison by 33% and restores 423 magic and stamina when they are applied, down from 40 and 1,000. Okay. This passive now, I mean, yeah, that's a pretty big. I mean, that's over like 600. But we'll have to see. I mean, we'll have to see what people can do. You know, maybe if you start replacing other, you bring in other skill lines, this isn't affected as much. This passive now, Warmth now causes direct damage from Ardent Flame abilities to increase the damage an enemy takes from your damage over time attacks by 6% and reduce their movement speed by 30% instead of only reducing their movement speed. Oh. Wait, so would this stack with the Necromancer one, or is it just Ardent Flame abilities? Because if this stacks with the Necromancer increased damage over time, you could essentially, let's say you bring in the Necromancer abilities just for the passive, right? You take out, let's say you take out the Earth and Heart line for DK. So now you have 2 damage over time buffs. DK's gonna be crazy, dude. So that's interesting. That's definitely interesting. I mean, hell, Arcanist is gonna be crazy. You take the Ardent Flame line from DK. Let's say you're PvE. You take the Ardent Flame line from DK. You take the Gravelord line. I think that's the offensive line from Necromancer on a class that's already simplified and relies on AoE and dots. Arcanist is going to go through the roof right now, I think. As long as this stacks. That might be a bad move. That may be a bad move there, ZeniMax. This ability is Morris now granted very minor grace. Oh, we're moving on to Dragon Leap. This ability is Morris now grant a very minor grace period of its crowd control immunity after reaching their target. This is to correct some very rare cases where some CC abilities, such as Rune of Eldritch Horror, could cause the ultimates to lock you in place right as you landed on an enemy, causing the damage and knockback to become desynced until the stun ended. These abilities have always granted CC immunities while leaping, but previously, I'm not reading all that. So basically, they fucking fix it. Okay, so Burning Heart. This passive now increases your healing received while a Draconic Power ability is active by 9%, down from 12%. Scaled Armor. The passive now increases your physical and spell resistance by 2974, up from 16. Okay, that's cool. And Elder Dragon. This passive now increases your health recovery by 323 per Draconic ability, up from 2. That's kind of a minor Okay, so they fixed that. Magma Armor. This ultimate and Magma Shell now also disable ultimate generation while they are active. Additionally, these ultimates are no longer removed when clicking their effect on the character sheet. Okay, Battle Roar. This passive now restores 37 health, magic, and stamina per ultimate set, down from 50. I mean, it's not a huge number. It need to be tested a little bit, really. But I mean, this can probably be made up in other ways. I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, again, it's all about testing, because once you start bringing in other skill lines, all these things that were maybe considered nerfs might not be nerfs. You know what I mean? All right, so let's see what they did to Templar. Apparently, the animation is still the same. Sad face for all of us out there. I hate the new animation. I love the old one. I was so excited when I saw that Bone Colossus from Necro Alt just doing the old spear. I was like, ooh, breaking it back? Are they breaking it back? Alright, so Templar, Adric Spear, Puncturing Strikes. This ability and its morphs now deal damage to the 6 closest enemies rather than having no target. These abilities no longer deal normal damage to the closest enemy. Wait, what? I'm not reading that right, I don't think. These abilities no longer deal normal damage to the closest enemy and then deal lesser damage to... Oh, okay, I get it. They now deal full damage to all targets. Oh, okay. Each enemy is snared rather than only the... Ooh, I mean, that might be a little... I mean, Templar needed something, though, right? I mean, they kind of did. I kind of like this. I didn't know it didn't have a target cap, though. I mean, I think things should have target caps. That's the kind of way things ran at Vengeance, right? And then work fine. So I'm okay with that. You know, especially if now each enemy is going to be snared, and and every enemy takes full damage. That's going to be crazy. So that's going to be worth it. I'll have to play around with it though. Okay, puncturing sweeps reduce the healing done by this morph to 25% of the damage done, down from 33. This will result in less healing against one enemy while being almost the same against two. Okay, that's fine. And increasing greatly at 3+. Oh, that's cool. Biting Jabs morph. This morph now has an increased chance per hit, 10% per to apply Sundered, rather than increase the damage of... Okay, what? And it now deals full damage to all targets. I like that. This passive now scales off 50% of your weapon or spell damage rather than 42. Okay. Increase the status effect chance per hit to 10%, up from 3. So far, Templar seems to be getting some good changes. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Well, I mean, we'll see what the rest says, but so far, I mean, I'm kind of liking it. Only because I already know one of my playthroughs, since I'm kind of role-playing as Snow Elf. I knew my roleplay build is going to be Adric Spear, and then it's going to be the Ice line with Warden, and then it's going to probably be the Heal line with Necro. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to like it. Alright, where was I? Oh, Spear Wall. This passive now grants minor berserk and protection for 6 seconds after activating an Adric Spear ability rather than only minor protection. Okay. I mean, sure. Piercing Spear buff. This passive's increased to critical damage and damage done to blocking players from... Okay. So that's a buff. Increase the damage of this residual damage over time effect from this ability and Luminous morphs by 23% to make up for the 1 second delay. Okay. Luminous Shards. This morph now also allows the caster to be eligible for their own synergy. So you... Oh, okay. I mean, that's interesting. Blazing Spear. Decrease the damage from the initial hit of this morph by 23%. Increase the residual damage over time effect by 53%. This will result in a 10% damage increase for the entire ability if enemies remain inside the area for the full duration, which it's debatable. Debatable if they actually will, but you know, whatever. Okay, Radiant Destruction. Increase the time this ability can be channeled to 4.8 seconds, up from 1.8. Jesus. To reduce the need to constantly activate the skill. This ability and its morph now costs 1157 magicka per tick, rather than having an upfront cost of 2950 to ensure it drains resources closer to other execute abilities, while still remaining cheaper than others since it's far more restrictive. Increase the damage per tick of this ability and its morph by 12%. Adjusted the execute scaling to now start at 30% health and gaining up to 500% bonus damage rather than starting at 50%. Okay, Okay. And this ability and morphs are now dodgeable in efforts to help prevent it from being a complete death. Oh, see, I like that. That's a good move. We'll have to see. I mean, the resource strain might not matter. We'll have to see. We'll have to play around with it again, just like anything else, you know. This morph, Radiant Glory. This morph now reduces the base cost to 771 per tick, rather than restoring a small chunk of magic per tick based on missing health. Increase the healing done by 20% of the damage done per tick, up from, okay. This damage now causes the execute scaling to begin at 39% health rather than increasing. Again, so far, I mean, it's decent moves. We'll have to see. Let's see. Mending this passive now increases all your healing done up to 13% based on your target's missing health. Okay. This Lightweaver no longer grants 33,000 armor while channeling the right direction. This passive will not attempt to activate if you already have a form of automatic block after such a shield wall. Okay. This passive now causes you to automatically block all attacks at no cost for 2 seconds when you start any channel or cast time ability, up to every 15 seconds. Okay. Alright. So you lost the armor. I mean, that kind of sucks. Nightblade. God, I hate Nightblade. How much more of this do I have? Jesus Christ. Sorry, just long day. Master Assassin. This passive now increases your crit chance by 8.8% against enemies you flank, rather than increasing your offensive penetration against enemies you flank. Like flank steak. I don't know why that just came out of my brain, but that's pretty good, right? Alright, anyway, sorry. Increase the critical chance of this rating by 2.5% per assassination ability slotted. Sorry. My brain's starting to kind of like venture off in a different direction now. Let's see. Grim Focus. This ability in its morphs can now stack up to 10 times rather than 5. Decrease the weapon and spell damage granted per stack by 25% on all abilities now. Okay. The maximum. God, there's a lot. I can't. There's a lot written there. That's not bad. I mean, whatever. I don't really care. I'm not a Nightblade. Alright, Dark Vigor. Increase the max health from this passive to 5% per shadow ability, up from 3. Cool. Siphoning Catalyst. Increase the amount of ultimate this passive grants a 30 when consuming a potion. Cool. Magic of Flood. This passive now increases your max magic and stamina by 6% when you have a siphoning blade rather than having... Oh, so you have both. That's kind of cool. Reduce the rank 1 of this passive by 1%, you fuckers. Just kidding. That's fine. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care. God. Okay, Dad. Sorry. Apparently some issues there. Alright, Daedric Summoning, General Skill Line. We're removing the separation of a pet versus a no pet build in this skill line now that subclassing is here. Those who do not wish to interact with the pet gameplay can now replace this skill line as a whole. Many abilities in this skill line have been adjusted with this in mind. Huh. Okay. Conjured Ward and Morphs. Conjured Ward and Hard Ward no longer heal the you if you do not have any pets. Heal the you. They won't heal the you. Zoss, really? Or did I read that wrong? Am I stupid? I might be stupid. Conjured Ward no longer heal the you if you do not have any pets active. They no longer heal you if you do not have any pets active. Regenerative Ward now heals you for 5% of your max health or max magic if you have a pet active. Daedric Prey. This ability now increases the damage your Sork pets deal to the target by 50% instead of increase the damage all your pets deal. So They just made it so like you can't bring in like necromancer pets, and they do now damage because of Danger Prey. It's only sword pets. Okay, well, that's fine. Kind of saw that one coming. You know what I mean? No, mate. This passive now restores 371 max magicka or stamina when a non-Daedric summon ability ends, up from 300. Daedric protection. This is passive now reduces your damage taken by 5% while a Daedric summoning ability is active, increasing instead of increasing your okay. Reduces your damage taken instead of increasing. Huh. The recovery bonus have merged into the storm calling line instead. Okay. Okay. I was like, you're really taking that away from us, really? But no, they didn't. Okay, expert summary. This passive now increases your max health, magic, and stamina by 5% if you have a permanent pet active. Ooh, permanent pet active. Look at that one. Instead of increasing max, oh, it still said permanent pet. I'm stupid. So there's okay, okay. Bound armor, bound ornaments. This ability now stacks up to 8 times up from 4. Now that it is less punishing and has a flexible fit into the crystal weapon rotation, activating the ability will still only shoot up to 4 of the bound daggers at a time, reduce the damage per dagger by 10%. 10%. Sorry. My bad. Alright, crystal fragments. This ability's passive slot function now persists through bar swap, allowing casts from both bars to potentially trigger the instant cast version. Okay. Persistence. This passive now reduces the cost of your next health, magic, or stamina ability after blocking by 80%. Whatever. It's only 3%. Not a huge change there, to be completely honest with you. This is where the recovery passive went, I guess. And then expert mage now increases your weapon, increases your damage by 1 away per sorcerer ability slotted. Okay, that's not bad. Stretching a little bit. Sorry, it's just a lot to read. You know, I'm interested to get the necromancer though. Really, kind of itching for it. So far, let me just go over this. I guess that's what I'm not just reading to you guys and reading you a bedtime story here. So far, I think Source got some changes that make sense. You know, making a Daedric summoning kind of different. I don't. Yeah, I mean, so it. Yeah, so I think Sork is fine. Nightblade fine. Templar got some good changes. Dragonite got some interesting changes that actually might make it a little overpowered. That we'll have to wait and see on that one, but that might be a little crazy. So let's see what Warden gives us here. Let's see. Bound with Nature, increase the healing of this passive. Okay, increase the magic recovery granted from this passive. Okay, increase the critical damage granted from this passive. Okay. Well, so far, I mean, Warden's getting upticks, so that's good. Let's see. Increase the magic or stamina restored from this passive, so it's all increase the healing done. Okay, Lotus Flower, decrease the healing done from fully charged heavy attacks from this ability and its morphs to be 2.3 times stronger than the light attack value and 3 times stronger. Whatever. It's not a big deal. I don't know how many of us actually use Lotus Flower. I mean, it's a good ability, but whatever. Okay, so now we're into Winter's Embrace, which is the line I want to pay attention to because this is what I'm going to be pulling over to my Necro. Reduce the damage per tick of this ultimate by 33%, repeating of course. Now grants 2% damage done per stack rather than 50 weapon. Okay, increase the duration. Okay, they reduce the damage by 33%. Now grants 2% damage done per stack rather than 50 weapon. Okay, increase the duration to 12 seconds, up from 5, resulting in a total duration of 20 seconds, up from 13. Again, something I'll have to play with, but I don't think it's going to make a big change. We'll have to see. I don't know. Like I said, I don't do math. Alright, update Frozen Gate updates its ability and its morphs to be more performant on the servers, while also making sure they pull eligible targets more responsibly. Basically, this is probably in response to people getting pulled through doors and shit in PvP. We'll have to see. Glacial Presence. This passive now increases your chances of applying the chilled status effect by 250%, up from 200. Adjusted the scaling of the damage done bonus to 10.55% of the higher. So you raised it by 0.55. Whatever. It's not, I don't know. Increase the armor. I don't do math, so maybe that's actually like huge. I don't fucking know. I'm stupid. Increase the armor granted from this passive to, okay, that's cool. Take more armor. This passive now causes attackers in melee range to receive a stack of Winter's Bite for 3 seconds, up to 5 stacks max. Attackers at 5 stacks are afflicted with major maim for 3 seconds. This passive no longer reduces it. Oh, I mean, that's fine. Effectiveness of snares. I mean, you can get that somewhere else, but okay. I mean, it's making ice a little better. Piercing cold. This passive now increases your frost damage by 10% and the amount of damage you can block by 4% permanently. Hey. This changes from the previous effect where whenever you deal frost damage, you gain piercing cold for 6 seconds. That's actually, I mean, I kind of like that. To play around with it, but I kind of like it. Okay, let's see what happened with Necromancer. I'm afraid. Alright, Gravelord, Flame Skull. This ability is worse will now generate a corpse on their third cast near where the target enemy was. Okay. Wasn't that, oh, I was gonna say, wasn't that part of Gravelord Sacrifice? But they, right down below, this more no longer, okay. That kind of made sense. Why would they put it on Grave? Okay. That never made sense to me on why they gave Gravelord Sacrifice when it's obviously the Flame Skull build. That made no sense. It's like they were just putting it on here to make it look sexier, and the ability still sucks. I'm sorry. It's probably great in PvE anyway. So Venom Skull, the corpse generation for this effect has a 3-second cooldown to mitigate how easy it is to reach the summoning corpse. That makes sense. Alright, Death Kneel. This passive now increases your critical chance by 20% against targets under 33% health if you have a Gravelord ability slotted, rather than 10% critical chance per Gravelord. Whatever. I'll take it. Reasonable parts. This passive now reduces the cost of your next necromantic summons. Sorry, by 66%. I'll take it. Thank you very much. You're welcome. This passive now grants. Okay, now we got some really good offensive penetration here. Not just like, I mean, I like that. I like that. I like that. You just gotta give us better Gravelord abilities, though. I mean, for real. Let's see, Bone Tyrant, Bone Armor. This ability is morphs no longer create an unconsumable corpse if you were not in combat when the ability is ended. This also applies if the abilities were recast with at least half of their duration passing. If you were not in combat when meeting its requirements, they will not generate. Note that actual summoned creatures, such as a skeletal mage, that die while not in combat will continue to generate a visible corpse that cannot be consumed. What? ZeniMax, you're killing me here. Like, it's a fucking whatever. It was so that change is so dumb. It's like nerfing Necromancer for no reason. All right. Anyway, empowering grass. This morph now improves the minor maim to major maim against enemies, rather than increasing your summoned creature's damage by 1,000. Health of Avarice. This passive now increases your healing taken by 3%. Up from 2, 1%. Yay, let's have a party about it tomorrow. This passive now increases your max health by 24 rather than 12. That's a pretty good increase, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Living Death. This passive now increases your healing done by 12%, while a negative effect is... Oh, that's actually pretty nice. Near-death experience. This passive now increases your crit chance while healing based on your target's missing health by 12%, down from 20. Ew, okay. That's gross. This passive now increases your health when you're recovering by 155. Down from... Okay, so you're just making... Jesus Christ. Sauce, you give me a migraine. I'm sorry. Like... Necromancer's probably fine in PvE, right? But I mean, let's be real. The bar's pretty low there in terms of what you can do. In terms of content, right? You can do anything. I could literally like sit on my keyboard and probably be fine in some dungeons. Let's be real here. But I mean, like, to make it so you can't consume a corpse if you're not in combat, it's kind of stupid. And you know, it's just whatever. I'm going the wrong fucking direction. You know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen is subclassing hits, right? Obviously a hit right now, but when it finishes goes live, they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, huh, well, the number of people trading in their necro abilities is far more superior than the ones grabbing them, you know? And the people that are grabbing them actually aren't using the abilities. They're only grabbing them for the passives, like say DK for stacking the damage over time, if that's possible. So, I mean, it's just like, why? Why? Anyway, on to Arcanist. Let's see what they did to Arcanist here. Herald of the Tome. Increased the cost of this ability in its morphs by 40%. Okay. Increased the damage of this ability in its morphs by 8%. These abilities can now hit a max of 6 targets. I think that's pretty smart. Increase the cost by 40%. We'll have to see. I think these changes might just negate the other ones. You know what I mean? I mean, they also increased the offensive penetration per Herald of the Tome ability, so that's just gonna mean you're hitting harder. This passive now increases weapon and spell damage by 282, and so that's kind of up a little bit, or maybe more understandable. It just means that when I'm doing a PvE build, I'm definitely gonna do Arcanist. I just don't know what my second. I might do two offensive skill lines and keep my healing line. Is what I might do. I think. You know, I think that will be smart, just in case, you know. But I gotta pick what my secondary skill line. Maybe DK. I think that'd be kind of smart. Use the Ardent Flame line, you know. All right. Curative rune forms, Arcanist Domain, disability and its morphs, minor buff effects now properly adhere to the standard 6 target cap. Okay. Okay, this passive now increases healing done per crux. This passive now restores both magic and stamina instead of just the highest of the max resource. Whatever that one. So I mean, I think Arcanist is still in a fine spot. They didn't really I think most of this just negated it. I mean, they increased the cost by 40%, but they also increased the damage and they increased your offensive penetration too. Okay. And they also, this could actually be more of a buff, depending on how you look at it. So it's crazy. I don't know. I mean, I still feel like Necromancer got shafted, man. I mean, at least we have a corpse that's going to land near the body. But again, here's the problem with tethers. Here's the problem I have with tethers. I'm going to go on a rant. I do apologize, guys. Sorry, not sorry. But even in PvE, where necromancers are actually okay, but so's a pack of gum. Tethers are really hard because it's a positional nightmare. Because let's say you're in a fight with a boss, right? And he's moving all around, and you set off your tether, and he's right there. He's right on, and boom, he does a mechanic, and now he's not. So now you have to position yourself so he's either close to where your corpse is, so your tether's hitting him, or he's in your beam. And you have to keep moving and moving, not only so he's in your beam, so you're getting those dots, but you gotta also make sure you're recasting Boneyard so that dot's active, because those are only dots that Necro has, despite having a dot passive. And on top of that, of making sure he's in your beam, you have to dodge whatever mechanics he has, so you're not dying while he's in your beam. You know what I mean? It's just a positional nightmare, I think. And one for someone like me who has issues with ADD and all that kind of shit, it's just like my mind just goes, I'm not doing it, and taps the fuck out. And and they gotta make this a little easier. Not easier. That's kind of the wrong word. Because then people would be like, you want every class to be like Arcanist, don't you? No, I do not. I don't. I feel like Arcanist is fine for its playstyle. It does kind of speak more to me. But I just want Necromancer to make sense. Like, Tether is great if you don't have to rely on it for damage. And that's the problem. For a class that has a dot passive, I really have to rely on two abilities that even in PvE, some sort of like numbskull soldier number 6 can easily dodge it, and that's the problem. Not to mention, they really need to bring back my self synergy. Anyway, so weapons dual wield, hidden blade. The bounce daggers from this ability now come from the target they bounced off of. Restoration staff, blessing, and protect. This ability, its morph no longer cause unnecessary server strain. Oh, so that was causing server strain. Okay. Soul Shatter. Oh, yeah. The explosion damage from this ultimate is now considered channeled or direct in all cases. Oh, I forgot about that one. Magic of detonation. The damage and visual effects on this ability and its morphs are now in sync with one another. They talk to each other. Oh my gosh. Sorry. So far, I'd say the combat changes pretty well done. Again, Necromancer is kind of underwhelming. I don't know what I was expecting, though. I mean, I guess I was expecting more heavy hand, some changes like maybe speeding up skulls, but that doesn't seem like this is what this patch is about. This patch seems to be more about getting things in line and ready for subclassing. I almost said scribing. Alright, so scribing, let's see what they did with scribing here. Hopefully not a lot, because damn, this video is long. When a scribed ability receives major changes in behavior balance, that ability will be reset to its base form and will require reselection of the scripts you would like to combine. During this process, 3 luminous ink will be granted to each character who previously had selected the changed scribed ability. Okay, whatever. Yay. Oof Shield's contingency. Increase the cost of all damaging versions of this ability. Increase the cost of the damage shield and healing version of this ability. Fixed an issue with the ability, basically. Okay, well, thank you for fixing it. We appreciate. Increase the cost, though. That's enter. I guess this was very popular. I liked it too. I thought it was fun. I did the blowback though. I thought that was pretty fun. Alright, focus drift bleed. Some scribed abilities using this focus not properly interact with sets such as claws or dragon's appetite. Okay. Signature scripts. Class mastery plus nightblade. The activation conditions for this script now properly line up with the tooltip. Who cares? I don't care. I don't care. Itemization and item sets. All right. Yes. Best section in the game. I don't care about any of these. I really don't. Sorry, I'm just looking things over, but I mean, changes of these usually kind of, I mean, in my opinion, if they nerf one monster set, there's gonna be another one, or nerf a set, there's just gonna be another one that takes over. Like, it's not a big deal, you know. My opinion. What do I know? I'm an idiot. Are they gonna do more companions this year? Okay, Tendlorian will comment more consistently when picking a locked door. Off balance sourced from the companions will no longer apply to targets already affected. Zarathar's corpse targeting effects cannot damage neutral entities nearby. They will also no longer bypass to prevent attacking an innocent setting. Oh, that makes things easier. Companions will now always be visible while at outfit station, judging your outfit choices. Okay. Well, these were pretty interesting patch notes. I'm more interested in just diving in, testing things out. We'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see how subclassing is and their adjustments to maybe hopefully make it so it's a little more balanced. I'm still worried about that. I really, really am. All right. Okay. Oh, Vengeance campaign. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see what they got for Vengeance for the next test, I assume. Added weapon, assault, and support skill lines. These maintain the same scrutiny to minimize server performance impact, similar to class abilities. Some functionality is changed on abilities to maintain this level of attention to server performance impact. Added a new pop-up when you enter Vengeance explain the rule set. Thank you, because people don't read. But that's cool. So the next test is going to add weapon, assault, and support skill lines. That's awesome. And they added bound try restoration potions for 1,000 AP each. Yes, thank you. That is so sick. That is so sick. Thank you. I've wanted that for so long. Even though I have like 1,000 tripods from usually from the daily rewards, but still. I don't know. What are you guys thinking about these patch notes? I'm kind of something is really interesting. I'm just more interested in jumping in the game because all this is really great, you know, to explain on paper, but the real shit is out there, you know. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other playlists and my other stuff. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for giving me attention. That sounded bad. I'll see you in the next video, everybody. Bye.